Hey everyone, welcome to my very messy, in the middle of 23 different projects desk. Yeah, I usually try to tidy up, but I want to get this video uploaded quickly before I go out to dinner with some friends because it's just a few ideas and I thought they'd be helpful for you guys. So I went and purchased this watercolor coloring book. It's by Kristy Rice. She has a number of them. You can get them on Amazon. When I get a chance, I will link it in the show notes, but I don't have time right now. I'm sorry. But if you look for Kristy Rice Painterly Days, she's got the flower one, and then she's got other topics too that are really cool. And what it is it's a book and made specifically for watercolors in a couple of different ways. One, the paper is watercolor paper. It's not cold pressed textured watercolor paper, but it's thick and it holds water and it holds the pigment really well. So it can take literally puddles of water and the paper doesn't pill and get gross and weird and wrinkly. And it dries really quite flat. It's pretty impressive. And then two, it has gray lines instead of black lines so that you can either use the lines kind of like pencil lines and paint over them, or you can still keep the lines showing through your work, and it does look more like just kind of a pencil line. Now I'm sharing this on our channel. I bought this book. Kristy didn't ask me to do this by any means. She doesn't even know who I am. But I've found this so helpful for watercoloring for a few reasons, and I just want to do a little flip through on what I've done so far and why I find it helpful. First of all, it's just a really beautiful book. It comes with these foldouts where Kristy gives you some great tips and information. And there's tips and stuff on the back too. And she'll walk you through different supplies and stuff. But I think most of you here on the channel know kind of about basic watercolor supplies because we've got a lot of watercolorists here on my channel. So what I decided to do was get this, and instead of try to make perfect pictures, I wanted to use it to practice different skills and different ideas. So I've been working through this book and I've been giving myself permission to be messy and make mistakes and experiment with things I'm not sure I'm gonna like, and that's where I think you guys can benefit too, especially if you don't know what to draw and then what to paint. It's kind of nice having somebody who's already drawn the pictures for you, and then you can just experiment with techniques. So what she's done in these books is you get 2 copies of every picture. So this is the front side, and then the back side of the page has the same one. So if you paint it in a way that you don't like and you want to try it again, you get a second chance. Or if you paint it one way and then you want to paint it another way, you get a second chance. So that's really cool. And as you can see, the paint, I used plenty of water because you can see the bleeding and the really beautiful watermarks here. It does not bleed through. Now there's a mark right there, but that's because it spilled over the edge of the page right here. That's my fault, not the paper. Not the book. And then what's cool too is she's made these flaps not only to have all this information, but so that you can cover your surface over here. So like I'll set my paint palette like on this side and then work on this side. So this was one where I was actually practicing wanting to figure out new ways to put in textures and things like that into flowers and leaves, and just experiment with a couple of new colors of watercolors I got. I'm putting together a professional palette because I've been selling some paintings, which is pretty fun. And so I'm putting together a professional palette of some new M-gram colors and wanting to practice with them because they behave differently than the other paints. So this was a page where I used some of my new M-gram paints, and that was the goal of that one. This page, I wanted to experiment with blocking out color. And so I just put down some masking tape, some low tack masking tape, masked out this area, and then painted the outside in shades of black because I have somebody who wants me to paint white flowers, and to paint white flowers on white paper you have to learn how to use gray tones and things like that. So I really wanted to practice getting some beautiful shades of grays and blacks and things like that, but I also thought it'd be fun to kind of do this color block technique, and then I just took a gold pen over the top of it. So that was for that practice. And these pictures, you guys, I love flowers, so this book is so pretty. I just did this one yesterday. I wanted to figure out how many colors of green I could get out of this tiny little palette. So this is a fun little palette that I like to travel with. The pigments are super pretty. They're very vibrant. This is a pinky red, which is my favorite, and then you can make it more of a burgundy red by adding blue. You can make it a very purpley red by adding purple to it. It's just so pretty. So I wanted to see how many colors of green, because again, in my palette right now I only have one shade of green, and I've got yellows and blues and reds and things like that I can mix with it to make other shades of greens and browns. But I don't want to use up all my really good paint. So I thought I'd experiment. And look how many, if you look closely, there are so many shades of green in here. There's different shades of olive, there's some blue greens, there's some bright greens, there's just some watered down versions of brighter colors, there's yellow greens, all within this, you guys. There's just one green. So if you think you need to collect a lot of colors to make a lot of colors, you don't, you just have to play. So this was really fun way to experiment with different colors of green. So I highly recommend that. You do not need a big palette. Look how tiny this one was. And it was on Amazon. It's super inexpensive. I think it was on Amazon. I might have gotten this one from Blick. I think actually I got this one from Blick, but it's a really inexpensive palette. And it just shows that you don't need a gazillion colors to make a gazillion colors. So that's good news for all of us, right? And I just got paint all over my hands because my palette was still wet. Okay, so this one, I wanted to practice puddling water. I wanted to see how the paper reacted to puddling water. And as far as watercoloring in your Bible, this is more similar. This paper is going to act more similar to Bible paper than it will to like a cold pressed watercolor paper. It's really in between because your Bible paper is going to wrinkle way more, and it's going to puddle a little differently, and these pretty pools and stuff are going to be a little bit different on Bible paper, but it is more similar than practicing on real watercolored paper. Well, I shouldn't say real. This is just a different kind of watercolor paper. So this one I was just practicing with like puddling in tons of water and seeing what I could get away with, and also painting on really bright color and then dabbing it off with a paper towel. That's how I made these. So I was just doing different, trying to just experiment with texture basically with water. This one I wanted to do rainbows. It looks kind of like I just painted rainbows, but this one took me the longest of all of them, I think, because I was going in and being super careful with how I was blending each layer. Just another technique. I wanted to learn how to play with color and blend this kind of rainbow look. And you'll see I didn't color in everything. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but when I got done I really liked the white space that I left behind, so I left the white space. Let's see, what else? I'm just hoping this will give you guys some practice ideas. This one, I had gotten, I had mixed this new color and I loved it, and it reminded me of hydrangeas, so I just wanted to paint a page with hydrangeas. And I think these are supposed to be apple blossoms, but they look like dogwood blossoms to me, and dogwoods are my favorite tree, so I made them into pink dogwoods. So this page I actually did try to do technique on. I was trying to paint flowers with this new, again, I was practicing with my new M-Gram paints and trying to get different shades of pink out of it and seeing what I could do with the new quadacrinone rose that I got. This page I was experimenting with just doing washes, and I thought it turned out really ugly, and so then I kept adding more paint and it looked uglier. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make something that I like out of this. So I just kept pushing myself to think outside the box. And what I ended up doing was I got a pen and just colored in some spots with pen. And then I still didn't like it. I thought it was even uglier. Like, it went through like 4 versions of ugly. And then I pulled out my trusty white Uniball gel pen and just started adding highlights, and now I actually like the page. So this was a really good experiment too, in just continuing to work on something and think of it from a different angle until you get something that you like. And you might stumble on something that you actually really like if you hadn't pushed yourself to not give up on that page. So I wanted to give up on this page 4 times. And then it's probably not my favorite thing I've ever done. Well, it's not my favorite thing I've ever done, but compared to where it was, I really like it. So there's a technique I found, or 4 techniques to get to this page. And I'm just, again, giving myself permission to not make everything absolutely perfect and beautiful. This, I wanted to experiment with painting backgrounds against flowers. I love a teal background on flowers, and so I was just playing with turquoise. Sorry, my dog's being obnoxious. And that might be it. If you want to, hey, Paxton, quiet, sit, quiet, good boy, good, quiet, come here, good boy, good, quiet. Okay, so if you guys are just wanting to figure out places to practice watercolors, I cannot recommend Kristy's books enough. I will be getting another one because I'm gonna be blowing through this one. And just trying different techniques out and really allowing myself to experiment. And I know I've had some people go, oh my gosh, I got the book, but it's so pretty, I don't want to mess it up. You have to get over that. You have to get over, we are the modern mess princess group here, guys, and you have to get over worrying about messing things up, because really the only way to find your creative voice is to get messy and to then continue to push until you find your groove. Okay, so I just want to encourage you to be messy, to experiment, to be disappointed in how something turned out, and then pick up and move on to another one and try it again, or try something different, or add white gel pen. White gel pen tends to be magical in my world, so get yourself a white gel pen. It can fix everything. Okay, gel pens and Jesus. Oh my gosh, there's a blog title. Somebody needs to write that blog. Gel pens and Jesus. Maybe it's a book I gotta write. I'm just kidding. Okay, hoping you guys are having a good week. Sorry for this really scattered, weird little video, but I just wanted to share it and hope that it inspires some ideas in you guys. And tell me in the comments if you are practicing watercoloring and what watercolor questions you have, because I know there's quite a few watercolorers on here, and so I want to continue to help mentor you guys in that. Okay, bye.